guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for stopping by to watch this video. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please hit the subscribe button. My name is Fisayo Patrick, and in this video I'm going to be talking about how to create a client onboarding process in your online business. A client onboarding process is simply all the activities that you'll be carrying out to kickstart your relationship with the client as soon as you sign them on. And I say relationship because that's what you want it to be. You don't want to be transactional in your transactions with a client. You want to build a relationship because you want them to be committed to you for life. So that's why I'm calling it a relationship, and we'll talk about all of that later. Having a client onboarding process helps you to set expectations, it helps you to define boundaries, and it also informs the clients of all the things that you'll be needing from them. And another thing it does is that it sort of increases your value in the mind of the client because you appear professional, you appear like you know what you're doing. You typically want to set up the onboarding workflow once the client has made payment, not any time before that, because payment is actually what tells that this client is ready to work with you. One thing you should never do is to complicate the onboarding workflow. So don't add too many information in it. Don't add too many steps. Don't let it be too complicated. Otherwise, you confuse and overwhelm the client. And at the same time, don't add too little information in your onboarding workflow. Okay, so let's talk about what should be in the workflow. So the first step usually is to set up contracts, accept payments as well. So you don't want to do anything without signing a contract. You want to make sure that the contract is set up, you've signed, your client has signed before you start working. So what I usually do is set up the contract myself, sign, and then send a copy to my client and have them sign. So that shows that work is about to begin. Having a contract helps to set and define expectations, and it also informs the client of what I will be doing for them. So what I typically include in a contract is both parties in agreement. That's myself and the client's company name or business name, the work I'm going to be carrying out, or the scope of the work, my deliverables, and contract timeline, and that's the duration of the contract, and then termination provision. So by termination provision, I mean that the things that would have to happen for the contracts to be terminated. So whether the client does something or I do something, it nullifies the contract. So I will include it in the contract so that we are both on the safe side. And finally, a defined payment schedule. So I always put my business account number in the contract, and I let them know that work starts immediately payment has been made. And of course, as I've promised, immediately they make the first payment, I start working. The second thing is to welcome the clients. Here, you're going to be sending them a welcome email. And in the email, you'll be familiarizing them with your company, with your business, by briefly talking about what you do. And you also let them know that you're excited to work with them and you promise to deliver lots of value for them. You know that you've had, so an onboarding process comes in after you've done a discovery call, right? So the onboarding process is what comes in next after the client has made payment. So in your discovery call, you've said a few things. You've said a lot of things, actually. You've talked about, the person has talked about themselves. You've talked about how you can help. And so in the welcome package, in the onboarding process, you don't need to go into more stories. You will also let them know that you're excited to work with them and promise to deliver the value that they are looking for. I also want to include in the welcome email a questionnaire that they would fill so that you have answers to the questions that you might need to get their work done. So if you are working for a client, if you are working with a client, say you are helping them with social media, for instance, you have a list of questions that you would need them to answer. So that questionnaire is what they will fill to answer your question. Also, in the homework, you write a list of the items that you'll be needing from the client in order to complete their job. So take, for instance, if I were going to develop a website for a client, the things that I would need include an inspiration board, if they have one. I will also need logo concepts, if they have a logo. I will need their brand style guide and things like that, even though some clients don't even know what it is. But if they have all those things, those are the things I'll be asking them for. I'll also ask for their social media handles and, if necessary, their login details. And I will let them know how they will send it. If I'm going to be receiving logos, for instance, I'll need to create a Google Drive where they will put all those things. So you also want to include in that welcome email a way by which they can contact you. So your phone number, your official phone number, your business email, or your personal email, however you want to do it. And what I usually do is, after I send all those things, I also send a link to my blog where they can read articles, because some clients always have questions. Some really want to know some things that I have already covered in my blog. And the third thing is the kickoff call. So honestly, a simple phone call would do just fine. But I've soon realized that it's better to do a video call so that you can build a lot of rapport and more familiarity with the client. So a simple Google Meet can do it, or a WhatsApp video call. So it's a good way to do more get to know me sessions with the client. So the client can ask more questions, and I can also ask more questions. So at times they don't really fill up the questionnaire. I've actually had a client that I wanted to do social media management for, and then I sent them a questionnaire, and some of the questions I asked, the client replied with, to be determined by you. So, to be determined by me, a lot of things. So sometimes the clients don't know what to include, what to reply in the questionnaire. So the kickoff call is where you get to ask, explain what you really mean and get them to answer. They also ask you questions and so on and so forth. So in the kickoff call, I inform them of my deliverables, my timelines, and how I'm going to be working. Also, if there's any additional service that they want, we will talk about that. So recently, I did a landing page for a client, and when it got to when I asked for their logo, they didn't have a logo, so that was an additional service. So I had to create a logo. Although I informed them that the logo was not within the scope of the landing page work, so it wasn't part of the pricing or anything, and we discussed price for that. So the kickoff call is where you can talk about things like that. This call ensures that the client and I are on the same page so that there won't be any unnecessary expectations. So that's what you want to do as well. Your kickoff call will let them understand what you are doing and let you understand what they want. At the end of the project, there won't be any unnecessary expectations. So last but not the least is the internal setup stage and launch stage. So by internal setup, I mean the things that you will be doing internally. So it could be that you're creating a separate Google Drive where you upload the client's documents. It could be that you're setting up a template on Canva for their designs. It could be that you're creating an inspiration board for them, or a secret pin on Pinterest, a secret board on Pinterest. It could be that you're setting up a content calendar or a project management software. So whatever it is that you need to get the work done is the final stage. So you need to do all the internal setup things. And so for me, I do all of that and also include other additional tools that I will be needing. Then the part of that is also the launch. So what am I, I really don't want to talk too much about what I do, but I feel like it will just help someone. So what I do is, if I'm creating a website, I have a lot of inspiration websites or landing page that I use. I have links to them. So in fact, the internal setup that I do is much more than the setup that I do for the client. So do I want to put a coming soon or page under construction banner on the website, or do I want to launch straight up? Do I want to have created content first before setting up the social media platforms, or do I want the social media channels to be blank until I start creating content? So it all has to do with how you do your work, how you do your process. But the bottom line is that you need to have a client onboarding workflow. So don't forget that I said that it increases your value in the minds of the client, because it makes you look professional and makes you look like you know what you are doing. So a client onboarding process is very important. And another thing I would say is that I have 4 steps in the onboarding process. Other people might have 6 steps, other people might have 3 steps, but all the things that I've mentioned matter. They can be broken down into many other steps. So you figure out if you've been doing this for a while, just figure out the steps that it takes you to start working, and then set up your own client onboarding workflow or process. If you've loved this video, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe to this channel. Let's get these numbers up. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Fisayo Patrick 1. I will see you in the next video.